What's up, everybody? My name is Victor Belmont, and this is Once a Week. This is the show where I talk about fitness, sex, food, and anything else fun I can get my fingers into. I've got a really special guest today.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Introduce yourself to the people.
My name is Tommy Topii. I'm a content creator. I'm excited to be here. First interview,
I'm popping Tommy's cherry. I'm going to be his first T for T, trans guy for trans guy scene, and first podcast interview.
Mm-hmm.
You've never done an interview before?
No.
Gag, this is going to be great. This is the pre-fucking, so we haven't even touched each other yet. We've been totally clothed, which is not usually how it goes. In porn interviews, they usually, which is the worst, in studio porn, they like make you shoot the porn, and then once you're like fucking sweaty and disgusting and have lube all over you, they're like,
exhausted.
Tell me about your life.
Yeah.
And you're like, what the fuck do I do with that?
Yep.
So tell me about your porn career. Why did you get started in porn?
Well, I got started last March. I was mostly just kind of having fun on Grindr, and people before have asked me on there, like, do you have an OnlyFans? Do you do this? Do you do that? And I've always like thought about it, and then a bigger content creator where I was living hit me up and wanted to shoot a scene with me, and then afterwards she told me about all this like amazing stuff you can do with OnlyFans and like how it can be lucrative and like showing me the ropes and all that. And then once that video came out, it just kind of like took off from there.
Well, if you're wondering how interviews go, this is exactly how they go. This is you're getting the exact experience that everyone gets.
Okay.
Oh, that is beautiful. Okay, perfect. Look at, that's so great. So you went on Grindr. And you had adventures. What's one of your most wild Grindr adventures? Let's just go straight out of the gate.
Oh man, probably. Oh man.
I know. I'm gonna put this in an interview. I'm putting you on the spot.
Oh.
Right. I'll tell you one of mine if you tell me one of yours.
Yes.
Okay. You want me to go first?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Perfect.
So I met one of my exes off Grindr, and we used to see each other in the club all the time, him and I, and we would like, not really, we'd pay each other dust a little bit, you know, where it was like, we'd see each other and we'd be like, you cute, but nothing ever really happened for years, and I always thought he was super cute, but I didn't know if he was down. And on Grindr, I see this profile that's like trans man looking for tops, and I'm like, yes, that's me. Obviously, I'm looking for a trans man to top. And it was like in anon condom, but I fisted him. And I was like, if your goal is so hungry, I'll fist it. No cis man can fuck you like I can fuck you.
Damn straight.
And then for years, like, we would see each other at the club, not saying anything, you know, like, but then it would be that 3 a.m., like, you know, that notification going off, that late night text where it was just like, I know that I'm the only one. And why it was so scandalous for me is also, like, I had a profile that did not have my photo on it. Like he did not know who I was. I did not know who he was. I think that, I forgot to add that, but that's, like, what made it scandalous.
Yeah.
Is, like, somebody who, like, kind of, you know, pays you dust in a club and, like, doesn't really acknowledge your existence. And it's, like, all of a sudden you're my fucking Muppet. Like,
all of a sudden you're fisting them, yeah.
So good. So that's one of my more wild... I feel like that's the one I can get away on YouTube, because this is...
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah.
But, I mean, we can bleep out whatever. We can bleep out.
Okay.
Yeah.
One, we never met up, but that reminded me of, I used to work at a school for a little bit before I dove into this, and I like after I clocked out and left, I checked Grindr, and since there's like,
As we do.
yes, and I checked like the distances and I was scrolling through, and the middle school choir teacher was on Grindr.
Face crack.
Yeah, and it's crazy because I worked at the school that I used to go to, so it was my previous middle school teacher that was on Grindr.
Naughty boy.
It was I didn't.
Oh, you
I
didn't
just-
do it.
No.
You didn't do it.
No.
See, I would have been
No.
like, "What's your Addy, baby?" I would have been like, "Need to
Mm-mm.
check that off the bucket list."
No, yeah, I don't think he was into trans men because
Okay.
this gets better. That has nothing to do with Grindr. But
Yeah.
my partner, who I also met on Grindr,
Hot.
we went to like a bathhouse a while back,
Mhm.
and he was at that bathhouse, and my partner is trans, and he tried to put the moves on my old teacher, while I dipped out of the sauna area bathhouse because I did not want to be recognized, and he didn't go for it with him. So I don't think he's into trans men.
So you missed that one.
Yeah.
Either that, or what probably happened is he got chicken shit, and he's thought about that moment and just been like, "Oh my god, I wish I had done it. I wish I had done it." That's
Yes.
probably, honestly, like
Yes.
what.
We can go
Probably,
with that.
yeah,
one.
probably
Yeah.
what happened. So, what do you do besides porn? Tell me a little bit about yourself.
I do a lot of art. I'm a sculpture major right now.
Gag.
Soft sculpture, like a lot of hand sewing and like felting and so yeah, I'm mostly getting my degree in that, like focusing on that.
Soft sculpture, that's amazing. So,
Mhm.
like, almost like upholstering, like almost like pillows and stuff, creating
Yeah.
different things.
Yeah, like puppets and
Puppets,
like
yeah.
rag dolls and stuff.
Mhm.
I like being able to have this like soft material and or create like an innocent figure that's like gone through trauma. Yeah, that's like my main aesthetic is like creating like I have this like series of like different types of dolls, and then like I'll do something like set it on fire or like spray it with like dirty water and like make it look like it's been through trauma. So it's like an innocent figure that's been through trauma.
Yeah, gag. I love that.
Yeah.
Have you had a show?
Nope.
That's okay.
No, not yet. It's been mostly like class projects and
Yeah.
like I was a part of like a wearable art
Mhm.
like fashion show thing.
Yeah.
That was like a part of our school, but no like actual like exhibits that we put up.
That would be so cool to be able to see a bunch of them. Do you
Yeah.
to like take videos of them?
I take pictures and like for like the fashion thing, it was like a video of me like going down the runway and all that, but I'd like to dip it more into like performance art. Like one of the pieces I made was a puppet, and I want to do something with that, but I haven't like gotten into it just yet.
I love puppets. I love making puppets and sewing like dolls.
Yep.
I've always been into making puppets.
Yeah.
I grew up in the middle of nowhere in Oregon, and so handmade shit is, a thing. And I've always been obsessed with specifically marionettes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I love making something move and bring it to life. That is like. So, have you always been an artist? Have you always known that art is something that you want to do?
Yeah, it's only been art for me. Like my parents like wanted me to be like a lawyer or like something more straight laced, but like I've never wanted to do anything other than like art, just art.
Yeah.
It's like never steered into any other direction other than art.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I've had jobs and stuff to like pay my bills, but
Yeah.
like everything for me has always come back to the process. It's like material things and money and hustle, I've learned how to do that. I've
Yeah.
become good at that. I do like making money. I do like hustling. It feels good to do that.
Yeah.
But like, I am supposed to be like a flower. Like, I am exactly where I need to be at all times.
Mhm.
And like, if I could spend all day playing a harp or painting or just doing what the fuck ever as an artist, that is like, oh, that's what I'm supposed to do. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not supposed to do anything else. And I think that we live in such an interesting time where you can make money off of your art, but it also, you have to like leave some parts of it for you
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
But I'm lucky enough that like my art happens to be porn. You know, like I love making porn and I love making erotic art. So I got really lucky.
Yeah.
And my favorite person to shoot is me. So
Perfect.
yeah, so I got really lucky with that. I think it's just because I know I can like push myself to do things further than I can push anybody else. So it's
Yeah.
like, as the artist, it's like, you know, my body is just a tool to create the images and stuff that I want.
Yeah, and you already know like your limits and what you're like willing to. It's perfect. You know exactly what you want and what you want to do, and it's kind of a lot easier to just work with yourself. You know.
It is be good only at art
Mhm.
and like really terrible at everything else.
Yeah. Yeah. I failed like all my other classes in high school. Oh my god.
I didn't go to high school.
Yeah.
I got my GED. I said, fuck this.
Mhm.
I could not. School was not for me. It's okay if it's for you. It was not for me. I have a lot of learning disabilities in a real way. I've got a lot of barriers in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And I used to skip class
Oh, same. Yeah.
to go to the art room.
Oh.
And my art teacher would let me TA because I knew how to throw stuff on a wheel and do clay.
Yeah.
So, and I've just always like been around a lot of artists where I have a lot of random like watercolor, you know, like I was just around art a lot. And she would just be high as fuck and let me like.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I remember I learned how to silk screen and I would like find pieces of wood and make my own silk screens and just like skip class, make myself a fucking hoodie, and I'd just be like, you know.
See, that's the way to do it. I would just leave. I would just leave school. That wasn't a good idea on my part.
In Oregon, it's like, where are you gonna go?
Oh, that's true.
You know, where are you gonna go though?
Yeah.
You want to look at a tree?
Yeah.
You can look at a tree.
Yeah.
You can maybe go down the road. You can go to Walmart, but then everybody's gonna know that you're skipping because
you're at the Walmart.
Because you're at the Walmart.
Yeah. 5 other people that live there know you're at the Walmart.
Yeah, being an artist. As a kid, art was always my way to deal with everything.
Yeah.
Like, it's always been my way to, like, if I don't know what I'm doing or I get overstimulated or whatever, I'll just start drawing and hours, like, I'll just make my fucking hand cramp.
Yeah.
Until all of a sudden you're like, oh, okay, life is tolerable.
Yeah. I used to do a lot of drawing, but then once I skipped into, like, switched over to sculpture, I haven't been doing it as much, so I really need to get back into that. But yeah, I used to do the same thing too.
Drawing is like really cathartic, I think, because it's so immediate. Like, as with soft sculpture, that probably takes like a little bit more thinking of like dimensions, like how the fuck are you gonna make a circle, you know, like
Getting things out, getting the materials,
sourcing the material that stretches or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
How much longer do you have in school?
I have about like 2-ish years. It's a bit slow going because I like took away some classes and then I failed some classes, and so like
How does that happen?
yeah, so I have about like 2-ish more years. Yeah, around there.
What made you go to art school?
It was mostly like I couldn't really see myself going to any other kind of college or like anything like that, and it was more like it was the thing that like at that time I was like, this is the only thing I'm good at, so I'm gonna do that. And my parents are very education oriented, so I think I was more like I more started because I was like, okay, well, this is gonna make my parents happy,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna get it going to college. So I started wanting to do art education, and that's why I worked at a school for a little bit. But then I realized, oh wow, this is underappreciated, not respected enough, underpaid.
Underpaid.
Yeah. So I switched over to more like a wide range, and like finally ended up on sculpture. So yeah.
Yeah, and you're an artist no matter what you do, you know, that is just like, it's a mindset. I think of that all the time where I go in phases.
Yeah.
I feel like my longest obsession has been erotic film. You know, that's been the one that's kept my attention the longest. But there's also like the least amount. You know, I've seen a lot of, like, I like making clothes. I love making clothes and designing clothes. We see a lot of clothes. We see a lot of streetwear. It doesn't mean you should not become a designer, but I also have a natural skill set to take photos, and I'm like, oh my god, I have this body that is not seen. You know, I have this thing that is not seen.
Yeah.
And it has the deepest impact, and I think that, you know, sometimes I don't make art for impact, so I just like make art because I like it.
Yeah.
Because it's pretty.
Yeah.
It's just aesthetic, but other times I'm like, I want to like look at something and be like, damn bitch, like that is the image, that is like the piece. Do you feel like you have a piece that really stands out to you?
Piece that I've made?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was, for the wearable art project, like, performance thing, I made this backpack. I really like taking, like, just, like, random objects, like, found objects, and then, like, modifying it. So I got this big teddy bear, and I sewed it into, like, a backpack, and then, like, I felted it so that it had, like, I used to have, like, gauges. I made it wear, like, little gauges, and then, like, I took, like, a scrap piece of metal, and, like, I used to have a bar, so I put a little bar in its ear, and I made him look like me, and then I took, like, a shirt and jeans that I would wear a lot, and I, like kind of, like, sewed and, like, modified, like, other shirts and shorts to make it so that he was wearing the same outfit as me. So, like, when I would wear it, it would be like a little teddy bear me on my back, and then I'd be wearing the same clothes, and but the whole piece was about, like, the teddy bear is like me during, like, active addiction and, like, at my worst and stuff, and then I was, like, sober me and, like, happy me. So that was my most powerful piece, just because there was, like, so many elements to it that, like, so many details. Like, I felted, like, the tattoos onto its hand, and, like,
oh my god, cute.
It
So
was
like
great.
that. Yeah.
Yes. And I felted, like, a really big, like, eyeball that was, like, bloodshot, that had, like, fingers making it look like that.
Yeah.
On its back. So, like, during the wearable art show, I, like, took off the teddy bear and then hugged it so that everybody could see the eye.
Sickening.
Yeah.
Sickening.
But the whole point was, like, when you're, like, in active addiction, like, the ongoing theme, at least for me, was checking your eyes to see if they were red, or, like, checking to see if you looked high, or, like, if you're high, you had, like, bloodshot eyes, or, like, wide pupils, or whatever, and always, like, thinking, like, do people think I'm high, like, check your eyes, and stuff like that. So, like, I put it on the back of the teddy bear, so when you held it, you could see, like, the reoccurring theme of addiction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really powerful piece.
I was really proud of that one.
Yeah, no, that's fucking dope.
Yeah.
If you're down, do you want to talk a little bit about recovery? I'm somebody who stopped doing drugs 9 years ago.
Yeah.
Might be, if it's too sensitive, we don't have to talk about it.
Oh, I don't mind talking about it, yeah.
So I stopped doing drugs 9 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I still smoke weed. First year of me being sober, I was like stone cold sober.
Yeah.
No caffeine, no sugar, no anything. I feel like my identity as being sober from drugs is almost as strong as my identity as being trans. Like, in the way of me being somebody in recovery, like, that is such a huge part of who I am, and such an important thing to talk about, because, like, I come from just so much addiction and, like, such predisposition to that shit.
Yeah.
And for folks who, you know, I think sometimes with addiction, and I do this too, it's really easy to just be, like, comparing yourself to somebody else, where you're like, well, I can do it, well, I could do that without it, well, I could do it, and it's like, that's not how it works. Everybody's got such a specific tool set that they're dealing with, and, like, you have no fucking idea what people are going through on a day-to-day basis to survive. That is, like, for me being in recovery, there were so many people who I've met who are in recovery or struggle with addiction, where like their addictions are how they baseline to survive.
Mhm.
And it's like such an intense, trippy thing to like have to do, and then be like, wake up one day and be like, you know what, this is gonna be really fucking hard.
Yeah.
This is gonna be really fucking hard, y'all. Like, I don't know if I can do this, but like I feel like I'm gonna die if I don't. I feel like I'm gonna kill somebody else if I don't. Like, that was my wake up call, was like, I woke up one day and I was like, this is no longer my problem.
That's awesome.
Yeah, this is like,
really cool.
I went on a really bad bender and I was like, this is everybody else's problem. I'm a liability.
Yeah. I think my, like, it was like, I've been sober for a little over 4 years now, and I think like the major turning point was like getting caught with drugs and then having to spend time in jail.
Yeah.
And being a trans man in jail in Indiana, like, I was not there for very long at all, but it was rough. And there was like a little moment in jail where I was like thinking about something like a therapist from a while back had told me, which is like, say you're going down a street with like something illegal in your car, like drugs in your car. You turn left, and then you get pulled over, and then you get caught, and then you go to jail. An addict, or like a normal person, someone who's not an addict, would be like, I can't believe I had illegal stuff in my car. That's messed up. I'm never gonna like put anything illegal in my car. I'm never gonna use again. An addict would be like, oh man, I shouldn't have turned left. And I was thinking in jail, I had this moment, because the way I got caught was I had it in my wallet, and there was a moment where I could have ditched it, but I didn't. I was panicking and I didn't ditch it, and the whole thought process was like, oh, I should have ditched it. I should have threw it away, instead of thinking, why did I have illegal stuff in my wallet? Why did I have drugs in my wallet? So that like connection, I was like, God damn it, man, this is a turning point. That was like the major shift into like, okay, maybe I need to take this seriously now.
Yeah, because I mean, that's exactly where my brain goes. You
Yeah.
know, like, I'm the same way. It's like, why did you get caught?
Yeah.
You know, you should have played it smarter. And it's like, that's your predisposed. It's like a chemical thing in your brain.
Yeah.
You're like, you don't have the same tool set as other people. You're working with a different tool set.
Yeah. Or like the thought process of like, oh, that'll never happen to me.
Yeah, the like, well, you're always trying to find an exception, right?
Yeah.
I think I tried to quit. I got into so much trouble and I just kept going. You know, that's the real tea of like, we ain't gonna say it on camera, but like, I just kept, Papa was Rolling Stone, you know? Like, I just kept going. And it's just like, it's never enough.
Yeah.
It's never enough. And I really like, you know, I've been sober from drugs and alcohol for 9 years. I haven't had a drink in 9 years. Drinking was a huge issue for me because it was the gateway to everything else.
Yeah.
Because the second I had a drink, everything else would just come cascading. I had
Yeah.
all the numbers and everything to make it happen.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden a month goes by and you're like, what the fuck? But I still, and I think it's important for people to know this because we're both talking about this so openly. I'm somebody who's in recovery. I feel very comfortable around people doing drugs and drinking alcohol, but I still have moments where it's hard for me. And I think that like, if you're going through recovery in any step of the process or any part of the way, like, the grace that you have to give yourself is so important. And I think the reason that I've not had a relapse is because every single time I think of something, I give myself the grace to be that person for a second. And then I'm like, reel it in, baby. But like, I still, even to this day, I have to check myself. But then it's like, okay, well, what's the weight? You know, what's the weight? What's your reason? And I found, I don't know about you, but I found my reason. Some people have their, like, they go through AA, that's their thing, or NA, that's their thing, which I think is awesome.
Yeah.
I have a lot of friends who go through that with sponsors where their life is fucking changed. but I found my thing, and I like every single time I'm tripping about it, I like dig my heels in and I come back. So, well, thank you so much for sharing that with everybody.
No problem.
Yeah, I think trans men especially, like, I don't know, a lot of trans men I met really struggle with addiction.
Yeah, I know, like, I used to know trans men too in the past, and they shared the same thing with me, so I think it's more common.
And I think it's just because we're the stressors of being a trans person existing in a reality that is not meant for you in any capacity. Like that baseline is always like for anybody that's like stress.
Yeah.
So, and I don't think that that's like a sweeping generalization, like all trans men have addiction issues. That's like not what I'm trying to say at all. But I do think that like it is something that's unique to our experience.
Yeah.
Because of the external stressors.
Yeah.
And the older I get, the more I get of the fuck it's, where it's like I don't really care like about anybody's opinion about me in a real way, where it's like I'm 33,
Mm-hmm.
You're
23.
Okay, so he's a full decade younger than me, which is a gag. I'm dead. I'm dead. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about some generational trans stuff. Who was the first trans man you ever saw?
Oh man. This the first one.
Or first palpable memory, something that pops up.
The first one where I was like, that's a role model right there. Like I latched onto and like I loved is the Got Mick, the drag queen from RuPaul's Drag Race.
Yeah.
Because like he's like unapologetically like trans men can do drag, trans men can like gender bend in that way.
Yeah.
It was like being able to show like you don't have to be extremely masculine to be like validated as like a trans man. Like you can be whatever you want and still be trans and still be valid.
Yeah.
And I love that so much.
Gottmik, we love you.
Yeah.
We think you're so hot.
Yeah.
Wink wink.
Yeah.
You know.
Fantastic makeup skills.
Holler at your boy.
Yeah.
He's on X. I love that. The first trans man I ever did. There's this book called Body Alchemy.
Okay.
And it's a famous photography book of self-portraits that this trans guy took in the 90s, I think. 80s or 90s. And his body is stunning. This is like pre-Buck Angel.
Okay.
And I worked at a porn store called Taboo Video in Portland, Oregon.
Okay.
It was an arcade, a video arcade where you could like put money in to like go in the back and like jerk off and watch videos. And they had like a tiny little trans section of like books and like stuff. And they had I think like Buck Angel's Circular, and they had From Naked Sword, and they had Billy Castro Does the Mission, which is like old school queer porn. And those were two trans men I saw, and then this book, Body Alchemy, with Lauren. And Body Alchemy, those images are so strong because he's doing bodybuilding poses. I'd never seen a trans man like you see, if you look at his work and then look at my work and look how I move my body, there is a clear line. You'll be able to see it. There's a clear line. And I remember I saw him for the first time and I was like, that. It was so far from what I looked like. You know what I mean? When you're like at the bottom of a mountain and you're like, I don't know, I'm not even on hormones, you know, like I don't know what's possible. I've never met any other trans men, like, and it's a gag because now when I look at photos, he and I share a similar vibe. It's at least in my mind, I think it is that like confidence of just
like an inspiration.
Yeah.
Yep.
100%. So, alright, so if you want to plug anything, now is the time. Plug your OnlyFans.
OnlyFans is Tommy Topii, Topii being Topii, and then Joseph Fans is the same, Tommy Topii, Topii. Yeah.
So this is the last and best segment of the show, where this is called Only trans. These are only questions I can ask trans people. Welcome to Only Trans. We're gonna do the music. It's gonna come right here. Only Trans is my favorite part of this show. So
I already love it.
yeah, Only Trans is the best. If you could give cis people advice to get us off, one piece of advice to cis people to get trans men off, what would it be?
To get them off, like,
in any capacity, take this question and run with it.
oh man.
If you can, this is unsolicited advice from the source.
Well, as far as like to get off,
Suck it like a dick.
yes.
Suck it like a dick.
For me, like, don't like be like, don't like. I get if you're like enthusiastic about it, if you're like when you're trying to suck me off, but like, ease into it. Like,
Y'all going out of 10, I need you out of fucking
yeah,
2.
like rev it up, but like don't like attack. You know, like ease into it. You know?
It's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
It's gonna be there.
I'll stay right where I am. It's fine.
Where you gotta be like a cat. You gotta kind of be like,
Yeah.
what? You know that
Build
that
it
feels
up.
yeah, that feels good. Who was your childhood crush?
Like celebrity.
Celebrity, cartoon character. I was hella into Lola Bunny. I was hella into. You're 10 years younger than me. Oh my
I
god!
I don't know what a Lola Bunny is.
You don't know what Lola Bunny is?
No, I don't.
Have you ever seen Space Jam?
I know Space Jam. I've never seen it.
This motherfucker, I'm about to have my fingers inside this boy and he doesn't know what Lola Bunny is! Dead.
Is it a bunny?
It's a bunny.
Okay.
It's like Bugs Bunny, but like hot.
Oh, I know who that is.
Lola Bunny.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Childhood crush like that. Like for me, I was into Lola Bunny. I was into Ty from Digimon.
Kind of. I know of Digimon.
Yeah.
I liked really well. It's really old shows. Do you know MASH? This TV show MASH. Alan Alda is Hawkeye in that.
Okay.
That was. I feel like I wanted to like. I watched it like before I came out. I think I wanted to be him and I wanted to fuck him too.
100%.
Yeah, like the martini thing, like in his tent. Fantastic, you know.
Same side of the same coin. Different
Yeah,
sides.
yeah. That or like Daniel Craig as like James Bond. A dude in a fitted suit, just fantastic.
Daddy. I mean, Daniel Craig is like one of, and I love James Bond, by the way. I like actually love it.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say this, he is one of my favorite Bonds.
Mm-hmm.
In a real way.
Yeah.
I love, who is that? Was it the most recent one? Who is the villain in the most recent one?
Oh, Mads Mikkelsen. Or Javier Bardem? Or
Javier.
Yeah.
Javier, that villain that Javier plays,
Yeah.
role model for me. I always want to play villains in a show.
Yeah.
I go deep villain all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Q, what's another crush you got? Who did you jerk off to? Listen, what got you hard? What got you wet? We're about to fuck, so this is a cute interview, but just to remind you where you're at, what you're about to do. I had to make him blush a little bit.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever jerked off to him, but David Bowie. I got him tattooed on my calf, like full on hot.
One of the last times I rolled really hard, I listened to Young American in the bathtub for like on repeat for like 3 hours.
That's one of my favorites.
Yeah, so I feel you on that 100. David Bowie is like, I remember the first time I watched this, like, I found this weird VHS at the library and it was like the history of rock and roll. It was specifically a David Bowie one.
Yeah.
Where it like went through his career. It blew my dick off. I was like, I could not believe somebody like that existed.
Yeah.
It was like David Bowie, I was so sexually confused. I thought I was a gay girl. Turned out I'm a queer boy. Last question for the people. What's your favorite snack?
I really fuck with those like Keebler Elf like cheese crackers. Do you know what I'm
Cheese
talking
and peanut butter ones?
about?
Or
No,
just
it's like the cheese cracker and then the cheese filling. And it's like a cheese sandwich.
Oh, yes.
I fuck with that
Yeah.
hard. Like hard.
That's deep.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to ask trans people what their favorite snacks are. It's a requirement.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an
Yeah.
only trans specific thing with a bit.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for being on Only Trans. This was my favorite segment of the show. You can find Tommy on all the things. You already said all the things. We're gonna go fuck now. I'm gonna go be his dad. So be a good boy.
No, I would.
Be a good son. Alright, we'll see you next time. Thank you for watching once a week. And I'll see you next week on Friday at 10 a.m. Bye!
Bye.